What's going on, everybody? My name is Bryan Tann, and this is another edition of Tann Talks. I swear the countdown just decided, you know what? I want my time to shine. It's Brucey's time to shine. What's going on, everybody? I am Bryan Tann, the host of the Tann Talks, the sister show of the Plotaholics podcast. And with me, as always, as we talk The Last of Us, Miss Melinda D. Melinda, how you doing?
Doing good. How you been? Oh, I'm
You
not
know what?
drinking this week. Yes.
Yes. I'm drinking tea that also showcases my love for Harry Potter because I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good. But I'll tell
I
you
didn't need a
what,
sticker to tell me that.
that's true. That's true. Those that know me know that I'm always up to no good. But no, I'm drinking some tea by made by a good friend of mine by the name of Cassandra Spearman. She is not paying sponsorship at all, but I will give some love to her tea. So if you like organic teas that are caffeine free but still get the job done, go to myteasnob.com.
Are they good cold?
Huh? Yeah,
Are they
you
good
can.
cold, like iced?
Yep, you can make iced tea with these as well. I just love hot tea.
All right, cool.
But yeah, you can do it for whatever.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Now I'm going to tell her. I'm like, yeah. So I gave you a free plug on my podcast. So well, you know what?
That's
We'll
right.
call fair is fair because she's hooking me up on this next batch of teas that I have coming in because working the new job and having to use my voice, but I don't want to lose my singing voice. So need some extra teas to help protect that. But that's not all we're here for. We're talking the Last of Us, episode 6, Ken. Now I'll tell you, number one, this is such a breath of fresh air. We had such an emotionally charged episode last week. And when I say emotionally charged, it was brutal. Even the previously on The Last of Us, that didn't do it any justice. Like at all. You got the pieces of it. And seeing Sam still brings tears to my eyes. I cannot see Sam and not cry. So this episode, though, no, we can't say that this is filler because there's so much more going. There's a lot going on in this episode.
Yes.
There's a lot of emotion in this episode, but we also see a lot of stuff that's finally being sort of put to bed. And primarily of that is the Joel and Tommy relationship, as well as Maria, because Maria doesn't even know Joel, but she got a lot of beef with Joel.
That just goes to tell you that you never know what kind of shit someone's saying about you behind your back, and they hate you and they've never even met you.
Yep, there's always three parts to every sort of situation. Her story, his story, and the story. Okay, and I'll tell you what though, this was, for someone that's played the games, this really felt like it was pulled right out of my PS3 or PS4, as it were. But once again, when your mediums are done properly and it comes to life in this live action format, there's nothing like it. There's just not. So just right off the bat, tell me what are some of your thoughts on this episode before we start deep diving? What are some of your thoughts?
So, man, this episode, it started with not even previously on The Last of Us. It was right back to, what have I done? What have I done? I was like, nope.
No, please stop. Please stop.
Don't start me like this. Yeah,
right.
Don't start me like this. And I, again, having not played the games, I didn't know. I didn't know if Joel and Tommy reunited in the games. I don't know any of that. But it was the kind of, anyone who has a kid, a lot of what, or works with kids, or has been around kids, or has a kid they care about, or whatever. There was a lot of that building.
Yeah.
Like Joel and Tommy was great, but that's a side story for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I want to know, but if I never found out, if we never met Tommy again, I'd be like, all right, whatever.
Right.
Um, but the the continuing evolution of the Joel and Ellie relationship, and kind of the peaks and valleys, and um, the accurate portrayal of PTSD in this episode,
Yes.
um, like all of
Yes.
those things, really, I appreciated that. And again, how it was shot, it's so well done, so well done.
Now, what's crazy, now, if you're wondering, why did it take them 3 months to go from Missouri to Wyoming? Bro, that's over 1,000 miles.
You're on foot.
You're on foot for 1,000 miles, okay? It's going to take a few minutes. That's number one. But also, I'll tell you what, and I think you're absolutely right. The PTSD, the trauma, and what I really appreciate is how what happened in the last episode is affecting them. Period.
Yes.
Like Ellie's a kid, so she's kind of bouncing back. She had her moment of "Are you coming?" and she's back to the old Ellie. Like that's the one great thing about kids. They're so resilient.
Yeah.
But Joel, he's still sitting on it. And the thing is, in the scene where, and I know I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but the scene where Joel and Ellie have their moment, that's almost taken line for line, shot for shot from the game.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, it's really, really just, it's amazing the way it was done. And if you watch the after show, Bella Ramsey even said, she had sleepless nights during that scene because it's a major, major scene. Because
Yeah.
this is at this point where Ellie stopped being cargo a long time ago. At this point now, Ellie is a surrogate daughter.
But you also
And
find out she's not talking to Joel over those 3
right.
months. Just to
No,
go back to
she's
your
not.
whole, she's
Yeah.
resilient, and yes, she is, and yes, she's back to the Ellie we think she is. But
Hmm.
like kids do, they
They
don't talk
shut
about
down.
things. Yeah, they
Yeah.
bottle it up until you have these emotionally charged moments when suddenly, like a bottle of, what do y'all call it up in Pennsylvania? Is it Coke or Pepsi or Pop, or I don't know. You're in Pittsburgh.
Well, they say pop. I say soda.
Okay, me too.
Pittsburgh.
I say
Other
soda.
other other Yinzers say pop. I say soda.
I will
As Odette chases the dude all over the room.
I will tell you, here in Texas, and I'm from New York, right? But here in Texas, everything is Coke. If you're ordering a Dr. Pepper, it's still a Coke. Everything is a Coke. Everything. It's bizarre.
So how do you know what? So if I want a root beer and I say, "Give me a Coke root beer," what do I
No,
say?
you'd order a root beer, but if you're like, you don't say, "Oh, I want a glass of soda." You say, "Oh, I want a Coke. Can I get a root beer, please?"
Oh,
Yeah, it's bizarre.
gotcha.
But I'm from New York, so I don't do it that way. But anyway, kids are like that bottle of soda, right? You shake it, and you shake it, and you shake it, and then you just put it to the side, and everything looks fine until you hand
Until
it to
you
your
pop
buddy, and they
that.
open it up, and
That's true. And
and that's
you,
exactly what happens to her here. Is
yeah,
it's been
yeah,
3 months, and she doesn't talk to him about what she experienced with Sam in
right.
memory.
And then when she finally tells him, he's like, he's handling it in stride the way he does. But you can tell for Ellie, it's like,
Yeah,
she's
she's
been
breathing it.
holding that.
And Joel did what every, sorry parents, we've all done this. I will take one for the parenting team. I have done this myself. Is you don't know what it feels like to lose somebody. You know what? Kids feel that just, I mean, having been a kid who lost people in my life, like kids feel that just as hard, if not harder than adults,
I
because
think
they don't
kids
have the
feel it.
tool. They can't process it like we can as adults.
Right. Well, they
So,
can't
but
just
me and Joel said that,
compartmentalize
and I
it.
was like, screw you, Joel.
Ooh,
Like I
Joel.
was pissed at him for her. Like,
Oh
how
yeah.
dare you
But I'm
say that?
glad. And once again, whenever Joel and Ellie bicker, she gives it right back. Like when he tells her, "You don't know what it is to lose," and she goes, "Everyone that I have ever trusted has either died or ditched me." And I
No,
think at that
like
moment he was like, he knew he was a dick
yeah,
for that.
he knew he screwed up. But I will give them both this, right? Having been a parent who has lost a child cannot understand that loss. You
Yeah,
understand what it's like to lose somebody, but not what it's like to lose a child. And I can tell you, as a parent being in that shoes, it
you
sucks.
never want
But
to.
at the same time, as a parent or a parent figure, usually when you lose your parents, they're older, you're older. So as a child,
to
she has
lose your
lost her
parent
parents as an orphan, and we know nothing really about that. Does she remember them? Was she
yet.
older? Like, right. Well, I don't, right? Looking at
Yeah,
it from this point.
I don't.
So
I
when he
don't
says
think
you
they
don't know what
even
it's like,
really.
does he know what it's like? Did he lose his
I
parents at a young age? Who knows? But
I think
it's comparing
Joel.
apples and oranges.
Right. Well, see, I think Joel lost his parents. All right. I think Joel must. I think Joel and Tommy lost their parents as young men, like late
Probably.
teens, 20s. I don't remember if the games really talk about Ellie's mom much. I don't think Ellie knew her mother. I don't believe. It's been a while, and I have to admit, sorry, Odette wants hugs, so when she wants hugs, she gets hugs. I think that. Well, I've been busy playing Hogwarts Legacy, so I haven't had a chance to really stay in Last of Us. But I don't believe they even go over Ellie's mom at all. I think that Ellie's mom is more well, and I never played the expansion with her and Riley. So,
That's the next episode.
and that's the next
But
episode.
you got
Basically,
a
the
week
entire
to play the expansion.
yeah, you know what? I think I'm just gonna watch it, and then when I go back to the game and start playing it, I'm gonna play through it because I've never played Last of Us 2, and I definitely want to play that before season 2. So I definitely want to play that before season. I know what happens because someone spoiled it for me, and I'm pissed about that. But I want to see the how, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Oh,
But
totally.
so let's go into this episode. So yep, so we're dealing with now, it's been 3 months. Henry and Sam's deaths are still very raw, even though we're not talking about it. And but you're
Time has
noticing
passed, but the pain has not.
right. And we're seeing these things about Joel though, even as they capture the elderly couple played master look, man, dude, Graham Greene is such a great actor. I love that
And
man. I love that elder.
they cast natives in natives role. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And that's not the last time we're going to see Marlon and Florence. It says here
Oh,
according to
really?
IMDb, it's according to IMDb, they're on for 2 episodes.
Okay. I
So,
like them.
and
I
I
have a
love,
feeling when we get to the end of this episode, now that you said that, I have a feeling I know when we'll see them again. But
yeah. See, I
okay.
love Graham Greene. I love everything that Graham Greene is in. I think one of the first times I ever saw Graham Greene on screen was in, I think it was an HBO made for TV movie. I'm going through his filmography real quick. I know it was in like the mid to late 80s going into the 90s. Graham Greene was probably the first native actor that I was ever made, that I ever had contact with. And he really just, something about his presence really got me. And
I see that.
I can't remember what movie it is, because it wasn't Dances with Wolves. It was a made for TV HBO film. But anytime I know that Graham Greene is going to be in the cast, I'm excited because he's such a wonderful actor. He brings
Yes.
such a beautiful, powerful presence. And that's what you really want in your actors, whether they're supporting actors or leads. You want that strong presence. And he always gives you that. And I love the way Marlon and Florence, she's
Oh,
just
I love
sitting
their
there, she's
relationship.
chilling, and he's like, "You gave them soup?" Like he's like
Yeah, she's
so
like, it's
mad.
cold out. Like,
Yeah, and she's like, "Well, just because they're holding me hostage doesn't mean I have to be rude,"
yeah.
which is
Or,
hilarious.
did you lie to him? Nope. Are you lying to me? Nope.
Nope.
She
That
reminds me of
is
Grandma Tala from Moana.
yes,
A
yes,
lot.
she absolutely does. And I love how though when they're talking and Ellie goes, "You can't scare us," scared him. And that's the first time when we really see Joel is now living with fear.
Mm-hmm.
So they're
Or
told you,
it's more apparent now.
yeah, he's not able to hide anymore. He's not able to hide his emotions when it comes to Ellie anymore. They tell him and Ellie not to cross the river because that's the river of death. So they leave, and we see Joel having his panic attack. We see that for the first time. And at first, I was thinking, oh my God, are they giving this guy a heart condition? It's like, oh, wait, I know what that feels like. I've been there. And you wish it were a heart attack when it hits because you're hoping it's one of those Widowmakers because it hits you and then you're done. Like, that's how much it hurts. And your fear makes it even worse. And of course, he goes, put that back because she stole some of his rabbits. And, she doesn't because she's Ellie.
Because she's Ellie, yeah.
And when they finally go to have their camp and, they're back to bickering back and forth. And we're starting to get them again. We even saw that when Joel was trying to hold them hostage. Ellie's coming downstairs. I told you to stay upstairs. Yeah.
Whatever.
Like, what do you expect? They're like 1,000 years old. What are they gonna do? I love how the show gives us these moments of levity because that last episode we needed it. We needed it after that. There was nothing to laugh about. So they find out which way they're going. Joel, we start to see that Joel is slipping now. And when he slipped, she picked up the ball. And he's telling her, you should have woke me up. She's like, why? You taught me everything that I need to know. And I did it. So
it's such a parenting thing. Like, we prep our kids, and I keep coming back to it, right? Because I don't know how to identify myself if I'm not identifying as a mom. That's my major character flaw. But we prep our kids, right? And then we don't let them do what we've taught them to do.
Right. You have plenty of time to do that when I'm dead.
Right. It's like, I've trained you to do this. You know how to do it, but I still don't trust you to do it right, even though you're doing it how I've taught you how to do it. Like driving a car. I know Bryan Jr.'s not there yet, but let me tell you.
I let him drive. I let him drive.
Jack, mine turns 15 in July, and he gets his, it's not a driver's permit. It's like a it's like a pre-permit permit.
Pre-permit permit. Okay.
It's weird. There's like 3 steps here. It's like a pre-permit, your permit, and then your license. Dang. And he's eligible for his pre-permit in about 4 months, February, March, April, May, June, July, 5 months. So even after I teach him how to drive, and I will teach him how to drive, and I'm from New York, so I know how to drive, and I still won't let him drive because even though I taught him the way he knows, like I know how, it's still not good enough. Even though he'll drive like me.
See,
it's.
I hear you. I hear you. And what's funny is that and she's like the typical kid. Yeah, whatever. You already showed me everything I need to know. So let me do it.
River of Death. I know that's next. I was cracking up because she did what every kid does. Oh, the river! Like, don't do this. It's scary. Oh, the River of Death. It's so scary. Dripping with sarcasm. I loved it.
I love the fact how she's marveling how everything is blue because we're learning more and more that Ellie grew up in the QZ. So she hasn't seen nature's water. She hasn't seen pure, clean water. It kind of reminds me of in the ill-fated and terrible Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 when they see the fresh water for the first time. And Raphael's like, no garbage, no tires, no beer cans, just clean, clear, beautiful water. And that's kind of how
I don't think I've seen
Ellie
that one.
Yeah, you're not missing anything. It's absolutely terrible. But Ellie is just like so excited to see clear, clean water. And then they see a dam and she's like, so those made electricity? Yeah. Don't ask me how. I wasn't gonna. Meanwhile, she was about
and I would have believed you.
Yeah, that's true. She's like, if you would have lied, I'd have believed you, but that's just not Joel's way. He don't lie to her. Which is really, really cool. And I like how he does that. I love how he just doesn't lie to her. He's always shooting straight with her. So they go through and then they're stopped by a group. They got their faces covered and they've got the cutest little dog. And it's like his last chance to catch a bullet. If he smells something on you he doesn't like, he's going to kill you. And it's like,
Yep.
but if they're infected and he bites you, he's just gonna infect himself.
Well, our
So
dogs,
I don't know. I don't think they've ever really touched on that. So I'm not sure.
because I just watched I Am Legend for the first time ever yesterday or 2 days ago,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
about
that's
the
rough.
dogs.
That's
Yeah, it
rough.
was rough.
That was rough. I bawled. I
Well,
bawled at that
and
part.
I started thinking about it. Well, they're making the sequel, and I was like, I need to see this. Um,
Well, did you see the
but the
deleted
dogs,
scene? Did you see the deleted scene
the
of
alternate ending.
yeah, the alternate ending of I Am Legend?
Hmm.
Okay, good. I think that's what they're going with. They're going with the deleted
Yes,
scene as the actual
yes.
ending.
But with the dogs, that got me thinking, and I'm like, huh, that's it was Walking Dead had the same problem. And you can't touch on everything, right? You only have so much time and so many episodes. But what happens to the animals? Do they catch it or not?
That's a
Like
good question.
it's adapted to live in humans, and we know that cordyceps in real life is there's like 99 different species of animals that can catch it. They're all bugs, but
Yeah,
um, can
maybe
dogs get it?
dogs are maybe dogs aren't because they're just that awesome, which is good because we don't deserve dogs.
Well, I like how it's the whole Terminator thing too, right? Like in the Terminator, they use dogs
Ye-
to detect,
Yeah, which is really
and it's
really
always
great by the
German
way.
shepherds. Love me some
Yeah,
German shepherds.
well, see, they need to allow pit bulls to be able to do that because pit bulls are. I mean, they may
Well,
not bite as hard, but
oh no, they bite just as hard, but the uh, here's my other soapbox, right? Is pit bulls don't deserve the crap they get.
not even a little bit. I went off.
So
I've gone off on people about pit bulls before. Believe me,
it's that
pit.
bias stereotype, which is why you never see. I mean, German shepherds, you see them in every military and police application everywhere, and in media too. So it makes sense why they used a shepherd in this case. But the
Yeah,
reality is, you don't have breeders anymore. You're gonna have there's no not gonna be
you're gonna
purebred
have
one. You're gonna get
mutts.
mutts.
Yeah, you're gonna have a bunch of mutts running around, or you're gonna have dogs that are bully breed. They're gonna have bully breed in them because bully breeds
Mm-hmm.
are very very prominent. And the thing is, and
Yes.
I'm gonna jump on my soapbox real quick. The only reason why bully breeds have such a bad reputation is because they are such people pleasers. They will go outside of their nature to make you happy. And people that take
Mm-hmm.
advantage of that should have their genitals ripped off with a cheese grater.
I am
I'm just saying.
100% on board with you. I had a bully breed growing up, and I had a German Shepherd. They're both fantastic animals, both very protective of their families. Definitely don't
Hmm.
deserve. It's people. It's people.
People are
It
always the
always
problem.
boils down to people.
Yep, that's why I don't feel that this what is it called, cordyceps? I can't ever say it right. Cordyceps, is that what it is? Is that how
Cordyceps.
you say it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it has the right. That's why it and Thanos had the right idea. I'm just saying. I'm
It's always
just
people.
saying.
People are
So
the problem.
they are, and I'm the solution. So we have this tense moment as the dog goes to Ellie because keep in mind, Ellie is immune, but she was still bitten. And the dog picks nothing up on her. So that completely obliterates what I'm saying when I said that Ellie's a carrier, but she's not showing symptoms. No, because if she were a carrier, the dog would have picked up on it.
Well, I don't know, and and I know I'm going to jump ahead, right? But coming back, when he's talking to Tommy later, he goes, "They'll kill her for what's under her skin," which
I
kind of
think she still has
is
the
there.
she still has the mark there, but her I think the way I'm seeing is that her body has like made it useless. Her body has made it like I don't know. Because see, here's the thing, and this is why the science of it is difficult for me. Because, and I'm going to use another dystopian infected film as my comparison. When you look at 28 Weeks Later, the wife in that is infected, but because of her blood, because of her sort of her genetic abnormality, she is a carrier, but she's not displaying symptoms. But excuse me, as a carrier, she can transfer the disease. Hence why her husband stabbed her eyes out as if she ran up his Capital One credit card bill. But in this, but also, I guess, with Ellie being still so young, we don't see her in any situations to transfer. She's not sexually active, and she
But I
hasn't
mean, like,
kissed someone else. You know what I mean?
and I
So I
guess
don't
that's what we'll
know.
find out. yeah, is how does it transfer? Like mono, right? You get mono, it runs its course, it stays in your system, but it's inactive, it's dormant, but you can still give it to other people. Versus, like I think chickenpox stays in your system too, but
Well, anything that's considered a variation of herpes stays in your system. It
right, but there
hides
are
it hides in your spinal fluid.
right, and you can still transmit that to other people through bodily contact, right? Any kind of
Once
bodily
it's
fluid,
when it's
bleeding,
active,
saliva,
yeah.
whatever.
When it becomes
But
active, yes.
right, but what about, like, there are plenty of other viruses that you get and then you shed it, like measles. I think measles is one of them. You get it and you will shed it when you're done. So it doesn't stay in your system.
Right.
It
So what
sheds
if
out of your
so,
body. So I
right.
and this
So
we've seen, right, in the initial bite, all that fungus growing under the skin of
mhm.
the woman in Indonesia. What is it for Ellie? Is it just that she has antibodies? Because if she doesn't have the fungus, like fungus isn't like a virus. It doesn't live in your bloodstream. So
I
does she just
think
have antibodies that negates?
I think that must because I think that if he's still worried about what she has under her skin, maybe her antibodies are keeping it at bay, but it shows on the skin.
Oh, maybe.
It's just maybe her antibodies have made it dormant. Like not
Yeah,
just
no, that's possible.
but it's still showing kind of like you know how when they were in Boston, they went past the hive or whatever and it was completely dried out. It wasn't active,
Yeah,
but it's still there. I think that's what it is in her. It's there, but it's inactive because her blood and antibodies have completely negated it.
yeah, that's a good
So
point.
that's what it's looking like to me. So yeah, they see the bite wound or the scar tissue. They're gonna see the beginning makings of the fungus, but I'm pretty sure if they cut that part of her arm, they're only gonna see the fungus there, but it's gonna be a dormant fungi.
Totally. No, that makes sense.
So
It's so nice to nerd out about this kind of crap with
it
somebody.
really is. It really is. So they take them to Jackson, and Ellie is well, so then of course, Joel meets Tommy again, and they have their emotional moment, which was a very, very beautiful moment. As a person
Hmm.
who's estranged from his blood brothers, it was a beautiful moment. It was a nice moment. And then we're having the discussion, and Ellie, hungry first, but still just trusting. And she just don't care, man. Ellie's got no chill in her. She's barking at the one girl that's watching them. What are you looking at? What do you want? And she
Hmm.
is
I
just
love it.
she's a little sailor. It's like, Ellie, let's mind our manners. What about her minding her fucking manners? Like, wow.
She's not wrong. Like,
She's
not
not
wrong.
like it's not nice to stare at people, kid. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, she's not wrong there. I couldn't get upset with her. She's not wrong.
Yeah. But then we find out that Tommy and Maria are a thing, and she's expecting
Hmm.
their child together. Um, then Tommy and Joel go to have their conversation. Maria takes Ellie. Ellie is still very, very distrustful of them. Like no matter what they say, it's not good enough for Ellie. It's just not. And I get it.
Strong survival instincts.
She really does. Meanwhile, Joel's like, my brother's here. This is good. She's like, psh, I don't know him.
Yeah.
Like that's like if you got a kid and your family is estranged and you finally go see that relative for the first time and it's like all is forgiven, it's forgotten. Hello, your kids never met them. It's like, fuck is you?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what she was like too. And then of course Ellie and Maria have their moment, and she sees the shrine to Kevin and Sarah, and that's what we find out for where Ellie finds out a little bit more about Joel's past. That
Yeah.
Kevin was her kid, but Sarah was Joel's daughter, and you know, and she tells her like Maria's trying to tell her, you know, Joel's not all he seems. Yeah, well, he did what he had to do. He's killed people. So did Tommy. Well, Tommy was following Joel, and she goes, and I'm following
Yeah, that's
him.
such crap. Like,
That was
and that's
such
where we
crap. And
it's
I'm
what you
glad.
said. It's his story, her story, and the story. And that
Mhm.
was such crap.
It really was. Like she's definitely got a lot of bias toward her husband, and I get it. I get it, but it's like at the end of the day, look, man, Tommy's just as guilty as Joel is. And Joel was doing what he had to do to keep him and his little brother alive. And I'm sorry,
Yep.
he would have just lost his daughter in those early days. So of course he's gonna probably be a little bit more brutal. Like you haven't been? Chill. Like, really.
Yeah, like what was
relax.
she like when she lost her kid? Like,
Right.
don't, just
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, you're not being okay. And kudos to Ellie, man. Ellie don't take shit. Ellie don't take shit from nobody. She don't care who you are. All right, Miss Odette. Okay. All right. Yeah, she's just getting up here and just grunting and snorting because she likes being in my lap. So I didn't even realize that Ellie overheard Joel and Tommy talking. I didn't realize that at first. But, Joel goes to the house, Ellie's sitting in the bedroom, and she's sort of, this is all girls my age cared about. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is what girls cared about when they were my age before all this. Boys and clothes and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, yeah, pretty much, because his daughter was worried about that stuff.
Yeah.
But even before we go to that point, because that's an important spot. But you remember when Joel sees the girl from behind that we think is Sarah, and then he sees her daughter, and at that moment he realizes by now he would be a grandfather, most likely, and that's just got to be so painful. That's got to be very, very painful. This whole episode is a lot of Joel's pain. Like the previous episode, like the ending in those 3 months has been primarily Ellie's pain. This episode, we're getting a ton of Joel's. And we can tell, but now Ellie is learning a lot of why Joel is such a tortured person. And he opens up to his brother in a way that he's never opened up to anyone else. I'm failing in my own sleep. And that's a painful feeling because I've been there. I've been awakened by nightmares of me failing in my sleep. Like
guilt is crippling.
It truly is. It truly is. And I've been there. I've had that in my dreams before. And I've had people that I love very, very much say very, very hurtful things to me in my dreams. And I know it's just my subconscious, but when it feels so real.
You smack the shit out of me in your dream if I ever do that. You got that? You tell me to shut up if it's ever me.
Same
My
here.
subconscious self will deal with it.
Okay, fair enough. So if your subconscious feels a slap while you're asleep, you'll know what it means.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, oh shit, I must have been mouthing off to Bryan.
But it's a beautiful moment between the brothers. And I think that it's a moment we needed to see for Joel. Because keep in mind, he's also been holding on to the loss of Tess, the loss of Bill, the loss of Frank.
Yep.
While holding on to the loss of Sarah. And then add in Henry and Sam. And the guilt, the fact that Sam saved Ellie's life. I mean, Henry saved Ellie's life.
Yeah. And well, we said that Joel is so trusting, but the reality is when he first meets back up with Tommy and they're having that conversation, he's not. Because Tommy says, how's Tess? And Joel goes, she's good.
She's fine. She's good. Yeah. He really
and he
is
couldn't
gauging
even tell
his
her
brother.
that something was wrong with Tess.
Right. He didn't tell her until after, and Tommy goes, he actually says to him, put it on the table. Because Tommy knows there's something more going on. There's no way that he's, like, Tommy knows by now, there's no way Joel travels without Tess. There's no way.
Right.
Up is up, down is down, water is wet. Joel and Tess are like this. And so I'm really glad, though, that we didn't have the Maria fighting Tommy over Joel. I'm glad we didn't have that scene. I'm really glad.
Yeah.
Because
it wouldn't have added anything.
And all it would have done would have just been pointless contention, in my opinion. And I really feel like this episode is Joel's story. Like next week's episode is going to be Ellie's story. But this whole episode was all Joel's story. This was Joel's past. Joel finally coming to the grips of his past.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion. So, Ellie is pissed at Joel because Joel is going to leave, and this is just a wonderful scene with two amazing actors, and I love the fact, number one, how Bella Ramsey goes, I didn't sleep leading up to shooting this scene because I know how important this scene is in this story, and I'm sorry, like I love her. It's amazing how good she is with accents, because when you hear her speak in her native accent. And she's like, but when you hear her in the show, it's like, wow, she's good.
That's Lenny James too. I love Lenny James, and the
yes,
it's the same thing. He opens his and Andrew Lincoln. They open their mouth and British comes out, and I'm like, wait, you're like, I could have fooled me.
Where did that British come? Or James Marsters from Buffy? Because I'm still not used to hearing him talk not British.
Yeah,
like. I remember when him and Charisma Carpenter were in Supernatural, it was weird hearing his voice. Or when you see him in The Runaways on Hulu, it's weird hearing him not speak in that British accent. But so Joel wakes up early. Tommy's getting ready because basically Joel asked Tommy to take Ellie to the University of butt poop. Colorado or wherever.
Colorado?
Yeah, they're going into Colorado. And Tommy's going to do it. And then, of course, Joel is there. And he goes, I was going to steal this horse. Well, I didn't give it to you. Yeah, I know. So Joel decides he's going to go, even though he's afraid that him being slow and old and deaf is going to get Ellie killed. Ellie tells him.
Because he cares about her now.
Yeah, he loves her. And she tells him, I'm less scared when you're around. Where Joel's like, I'm more scared when you're around. Well, he doesn't say that, but that's the consensus. So they go, and it's not much of a trip. They're going, they're doing their thing. They get there, and there's all the monkeys running amok all on the university, which was kind of cool to see the whole herd of monkeys, or, the whole community of monkeys. And then these raiders show up. And I'm kind of glad that we're going to get a more Ellie-centric episode next week because, honestly, if I recall correctly in the game, when they leave Tommy, that's almost the end of the game when they leave Tommy's. So I'm kind of glad that this was a cool episode here, especially in the ending. Of course, Joel takes out this raider as he tends to do, but he gets himself stabbed because he goes in like a brute. And then as soon as he grabbed at the hilt of that bat, I said, don't pull it out. You're going to do the TV thing and pull it out. Yep, there you go. And now you're wondering why you're bleeding out. That's one of the first things
you learn in first aid.
You never pull it out. You never pull out.
You leave it. Leave it.
Yeah, you leave it in. You never pull out. You never pull out.
I'm just going to let that one alone, and we're going to move on.
yeah, just let it be. So Joel makes that mistake. They get away. And I'm sorry, man, falling off a horse, that's got to suck. He's going to wake up really hurting because that horse has got to be about 6 feet, 7 feet off the ground. That's going to hurt when he wakes up. And of course, Ellie says, and it was hard for her to admit, I can't do this without you. Like, we hear her say that. Like, that admission had to be so hard. And once again, man, shout out to Bella Ramsey because those tears in her eyes at that moment. Like, she and Pedro Pascal, they are lost in these characters. They are absolutely lost in these characters. Like, it had to be so difficult to find yourself again getting into these characters. So, but yeah, so, and that's that's episode 6 of The Last of Us. Ken, this was, why don't we talk to bartender? Let's see what bartender Smiley has to say. We're going to go over our rating system. Then we're going to give our final thoughts, and then we're going to give our review. So here's bartender Smiley, in case you don't know.
The Plotaholics rating system for the movies is a pretty simple system. Basically, they rate movies based on how many shots it takes to get through them. So if you got a good movie and you get through it all the way sober, then it takes 0 shots to get through the movie. And then if you got a really bad movie, then it could take up to 5 shots to get through the whole thing. I think you can try to figure out the middle part yourself. So, what can I get you?
All right, so Melinda, give us your final thoughts on this episode, and then give us your rating.
Final thoughts on this episode. It was a nice change from last week's emotional episode. Didn't need the tissues this week. Pulled me in at the end there because this train is just not getting any better. It's just going to keep getting worse. So I'm going to go with a 1-shot rating for this. Strong episode. A lot of story told, which is good. Saved by that fantastic scene between Pedro and Bella.
Yeah, this episode here is really this was a great, strong episode, coming off of such an emotionally charged, heartbreaking episode. I like the fact that the previous episode, the specter of that episode is still with us. It's not gone away. And I love a good characterization episode. I love characterization. I love the continued characterization of Joel and Ellie. I love seeing the growth in them, but it's also very, very organic. It doesn't feel fake. And I'm a big fan. This is a home run. This whole series as a whole is an absolute home run. I'm trying to see, as much as I don't want to, I got to give this a 0-shot rating. I mean, I can't find anything to fault. Everything just felt on point, on brand. And it was the perfect episode at the perfect time after the whole thing with Henry and Sam. This was the right episode to have. We didn't get all of the we didn't get all the emotion until the end, but it was healthy emotion. It wasn't heartbreak. So yeah, it's a 0-shot rating for me. So next week's episode, let's see here, let me pull it up, is going to be titled Left Behind. This is, and what it's looking like to me, this is for those that have played the game, Left Behind, it looks like it's going to be the Ellie-centric DLC, which serves as a prequel. I think is the
name of the DLC.
I believe that is correct. Let me double check.
It was ironic because we were getting to the end of the episode, and my husband says, I wonder if they're going to do a standalone, not series, but like a 1-shot episode, like adjacent to the series on the DLC. And then it was the trailer for the next episode. He goes, oh, well, there it is.
Yep, and it is. And the actual DLC is titled The Last of Us Left Behind. So yeah, that is the name of the DLC. So yeah, we're gonna get this episode that's gonna tell us all about Ellie. I'll tell you what, I really, really wish that in these remasters for this game, I really wish instead of having it as a separate DLC, why don't you put it on there where how I would do it is you have that opening story, the opening credit story with Joel and Sarah and Tommy. And then before we get to the QZ 20 years later, then play Left Behind, and then go into the main story. That's how I would want to do it, but that's just me. That's just this.
Well, I think I'm curious how they're gonna, because Pedro Pascal has billing in every episode. So I'm thinking this next episode is going to be Ellie telling her story to Joel as she's trying to keep him from bleeding out.
Yeah, that sounds like I you know what, that feels like the logical point to me. I even think it might even be the way I'm thinking it might be is she found a way to get him to shelter, and he's like,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to stitch me up, and he asks her to tell him her story while she's stitching him up, so that way it can keep him focused on what needs to be done. That's the way I think it could be. I'll tell you what, though, I'm a little disappointed that this episode wasn't Friday night again.
I
But
know.
I understand why. I understand why they did it, but I kind of wish they. I understand why they did it last week because of the Super Bowl. I get it, but I really, really wish they would have done it again this week. But I understand.
Well, I went to watch it last night, and I'm like, oh, it's not up yet. And then I looked over, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta wait 10 minutes. So I went and watched this episode of Supernatural, and then I watched this. I wonder if Ashley Johnson's going to be in the next episode.
I hope so, because Ashley Johnson, who voices Ellie in the Last of Us video game, now we know this isn't much of a spoiler, but she's going to be playing Ellie's mother in. So I think this is going to be the episode where we see her, which is I'm excited for that, because Ashley Johnson, man, I mean, I've watched her grow up. I've watched her grow from the little kid on Growing Pains to being the voice of Ellie, and to being the waitress in Avengers that Captain America saves. And I'm still mad.
Oh, is that who that is?
Yeah, the waitress that he saves at the end. Yep, that's Ashley Johnson. And I'll tell you what, I'm still really mad. I'm so really mad at Marvel for cutting the scenes of her characterization, because the significance of her, the reason why they focus on her with him saving her, is because she had an interaction with Captain America before all the events of the Avengers happened. He was like this dude that was coming into the coffee shop that she worked at, blah blah blah. So,
is the next episode 7?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yes, episode
IMDb
7.
Says that Ashley. Yep. IMDb says Ashley Johnson is in season 1, episode 7. So we get her next 7.
All right, so we get her,
and then
we got 2 more
Troy
episodes
Baker in episode 8.
Nice. Now, did they say who Troy Baker is playing?
James.
Okay, that'll be interesting. And then, of course, episode 9 will be the finale.
I don't know who that is, but
neither do I. I don't remember anyway. And then, of course, episode 9 is going to be the finale, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be the ending of the game, which is balls intense. Like, intensity in 10.5 cities, for sure. But we're still about a good
week away. So I need lots of issues for the finale?
For the finale, you're going to see Joel go beast mode in a way that doesn't even count toward any other beast modes that he's done. So he survives the baseball
bat, is what you're telling me. Thanks for the spoiler. He survives the baseball bat.
Well, the Negan-esque thing, I think, happens in The Last of Us 2. Joel still gets to go super duper beast mode in. Oh yeah, right. You're right. Yep. I guess I did. Well, hey, thanks. It's not my fault. Pedro Pascal.
Next week.
Pedro Pascal is credited for being in 10 episodes. So yeah, I spoiled nothing. So make sure you.
Scene. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. He could die and come back. You never know. And maybe his identical twin brother Mole will take her the rest of the way. I've been following you since Boston, but I was always 2 steps behind. But anyway, make sure you rate, review, like, share, and subscribe. Tell your friends. And we'll see you guys next week. Tomorrow we're going to be recording an episode of the parent series, The Plotaholics. Shane and I are going to be talking Hot Fuzz, the Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, buddy
cop. Keep doing movies I've never seen. You've
never seen Hot Fuzz? Wow.
Nope.
Did you watch Scott Pilgrim versus the World at least?
Nope.
It's on Netflix. It's on Netflix. Go watch it. As soon as we're done, go watch it. It's absolutely great. I have the hugest crush on Mary.
I did watch the Inescapable Crush of Unbearable Talent. I did watch that before you.
Oh, you did? Okay. I love that.
I have to go back and watch the Plotaholics episode. Because I remember watching that movie being like, what did I just watch? And if Pedro Pascal is not like this in real life, I don't want to know.
Yeah, and I remember you called me out for saying that in the show. You called me out for saying that. All right, guys. So next week we're going to be doing episode 7 of The Last of Us Left Behind. And yeah, make sure you rate, review, like, share, and subscribe. And we are going to see you guys next week. Just make sure I don't hit the countdown this time. Take care.